Hello and welcome to episode 280 of my podcast all about knitting and crochet in my yarn shop here in Wiesbaden, Germany. I'm Kiko and today is June 29th, 2025. And yes, I'm a day early. I'm recording on the Sunday for my Monday video because my husband is on a business trip for 2 days and I cannot upload videos to YouTube. So for you to have a video on Monday, I'm recording it today, and then he's going to prepare everything today so that it's ready tomorrow. That means I had a day less for knitting and crocheting, but I think I still got enough done to show you. I am wearing two old things again, and the scarf that I am wearing, the pattern is called Nicola, and that was the first time I ever got a knitting pattern subscription that was online, and I got this as a present from my husband, and I told him that I wanted to have that. And it's by Die Wollust in Berlin, Germany, and she had different options on offer. So you could get just the patterns, or you could get, and the pattern means you got 12 patterns, one pattern a month for a year. And then it was possible to get the yarn for every other pattern as well. And that's the option that I chose. So that year, which was 2011, it started in December 2010. And I got the first pattern for Christmas. And then every month I would get a pattern, and every other month I would also get the yarn for it. And I knew that the pattern in December would be a lace scarf. I knew how much yarn I would need, but not what the pattern would look like. So what I did is I packed this ball of yarn, which is a Nouveau yarn. It's Nouveau Secco. It's a lace yarn. And I packed that waiting for the pattern. So when I unpacked my present, it contained the first pattern of 12, and I started knitting straight away. So the Ravelry page says I started on the 24th of December 2010. And yes, in Germany we celebrate on the 24th, like Christmas Eve. And Ravelry also tells me that I finished on January 1st, 2011. So it took me 1 week to knit this little scarf. It is a fairly little scarf, so it's not an impossible thing to knit this in 1 week. And typically Nouveau, it has lots of different colors. The pattern is very nice, but not very complicated. So it does repeat fairly regularly. I don't really remember too much about the pattern. I guess it had a provisional cast on because the beginning and the end both have the same pattern. Yeah, and because it has so many colors, I always feel I can wear it with a lot of things. So if one of the colors matches what I'm wearing, I feel it's okay to wear it. And that's how I picked this for today. And also because it's very small and light, and at the moment it's quite warm, so I didn't need a big shawl or scarf or anything. And the top I'm wearing is one of my absolute favorite tops of all times. It's a very simple construction. I just crochet this square pattern 8 times, 4 times for the front, 4 times for the back. And then I crocheted the pieces together down here and part of the square up here. And then, of course, I connected the fronts and the backs, and that's it. And basically, you can crochet a top like that with any crochet square shape. So if it's a simple granny square or any other pattern. So all the beautiful crochet patterns by Shelly Husband, I wouldn't mind crocheting loads and loads of tops like this. But I just for fun, I wanted to show you the book I crocheted this from. I probably showed you before, but this is a Rick Moore book. It's called Best Eyes Collections, volume 102. And this was the first Japanese knitting and crochet book that I bought in Germany. So I bought it in a Japanese shop in Frankfurt. And it has the typical Japanese patterns where you have pictures of every stitch. And the this is what the original looks like. So it sort of looks very different from mine, mostly because the color is so different, but also it's a different kind of yarn. And there's an edge for the sleeves and also an edge at the bottom of the top. So maybe if I crochet that again, I might do that just for a change. But yeah, I like to change patterns. And I've also crocheted this top, and you may remember that because mine actually looks almost exactly like it. I made it in red yarn, and the change that I did there is I did not crochet those corners. I did them up here, but not down there. So my top has a rounded edge, which I like a lot. And if the weather stays like this, maybe I'll wear this top next time I make a video, which is not going to be next week. That's what I wanted to mention. Next week I'll be traveling, so there won't be a normal episode, but hopefully there'll be a special episode that I'm planning to do. And then in 2 weeks' time, there'll be another proper episode. And if the weather stays this warm, I might wear this red top. Yeah, the top is even older than the scarf. So the project page was, I put up the project page in 2009. So I must have crocheted that sometime before, either the beginning of 2009 or even before. And this was knit in end of 2010 until the first day of 2011. So old pieces, but I still love them. I still love wearing them. So yeah, that's that. Then on to finished objects. I have 2 finished objects and 1 finished project. The older project object are the wrist warmers. I actually finished the second pair. So these are the smaller ones. Just to show you the difference, these are the bigger ones. So I first knit one of these, then one of these. They were supposed to be the same size. They were not. So I knit another one to fit with this one. And then I knit another one to fit with this one. And I'll show you the new one that I cast on in a moment. But the proper finished object, finished project is actually Professor Fungi. I managed to finish it last night, and I am really, really happy. And I do hope that the person he's going to live with is going to be happy, but I am quite sure that she's going to like him, or that they are going to like him. It's a couple where he's going to live. And I wanted to show you, well, just I'll show him first. So in the pattern, Professor Fungi does not have glasses, but because he's a professor, I felt he should wear glasses. This time I got the basket right. With mine, it's wrong, but I'll show mine in a minute so you can see the difference. And also, I think this time I remembered to actually use a different size needle for the nose. I'm not sure I did that with mine. And he's wearing a little bracelet just for fun. And I thought it'd be fun to see them together. So I brought my Professor Fungi. So they are basically the same, but there are small differences. For example, the thing on top of the hat seems to be a bit bigger with this one. The nose is bigger because I remembered to use different needles. I decided that this Professor Fungi is right-handed, so he carries the basket on the left hand so he can pick the mushrooms with his right hand. And as I said, this basket is the way it's supposed to be. With my basket, I made a mistake in sewing on the handle. It should have been sewn this way, but it doesn't matter. And this Professor Fungi obviously is left-handed, so he uses his left hand to pick mushrooms, and he wears a mushroom bracelet just to show how much he loves mushrooms. Yeah, but otherwise, basically the same, and they are good friends. They're not happy to be saying goodbye to each other, but that's how life works. Yeah, so that's my finished objects for today. And then on to works in progress. I continued knitting on the Nouveau Deco socks. These were the round 6 socks in this year's Sock Madness. and I did not get a lot done, but last week I showed you that I just started with the second like big motif that are on the sock. So they start with these wrap stitches down here, and then they open up like a fan. And so last week I just done the first set of wrap stitches, then I did the second one, and I've increased, and I'm just starting to knit this nice fan. And yeah, not too much left to do, but still a bit. And then I finally managed to bring the Tangled Bliss round 7 socks. So the round 7 socks are called Tangled Bliss, were designed by the Nerd Knits, Annette, and I started knitting them as per pattern with 3 colors, but then realized it's tangling up so much and it's not bliss and I'm not in the competition anymore, and I just decided not to do it. So I ripped out the 3 color part and decided to use just 2 colors. So these are the 2 colors that I picked. This is my main color and this is the contrast color, I think. And the sock starts off with a brioche, 2 color brioche rib. I did that as per pattern, but I changed the number of stitches. I used a lot fewer stitches than called for. And I'm also knitting the sock with fewer stitches. So I have 4 of those patterns around the sock, and they're supposed to be 5. So I omitted 1 complete motif. And now I have 4, which I think is nice. And I think there was supposed to be 3 stitches running down the back, and I have 4, or the other way around, I don't know, but to make it fit with the numbers that I wanted. And then I had knit half the heel, and then I left it lying for several weeks. So this is what I was supposed to have shown you either last week or the week before, and I always forgot. And for the heel, I completely changed the pattern. In the pattern, it's a strong heel where you do increases and then just do a heel turn and then you're done, which is quite nice to knit, but I don't like to wear it. So I decided to do a short row heel. So I did the first part of the short row heel and then I put it down, but I picked it up again. I did the 2 rounds around all the stitches, and then I did the second half of the heel. And again, I was just knitting color A and color B, alternating the 2 colors. And in the front, I am continuing with the pattern because there are sometimes very long stretches in just 1 color. Like here, there's like 10 stitches or something with 1 color. And because if you use 3 colors, then of course you have long stretches where one of the colors isn't used. So that's why the pattern calls for the leatherback jacquard technique, where you cast on new stitches on the inside, and these stitches get purled so they look like knit stitches on the inside, and they manage the floats of the colors that you are not using at the moment. So this is going to be a really nice and warm sock, like with 2 layers, and it fits. It's stretchy enough to get my heel through. I tried it on, and now I'm going to continue knitting the pattern on the top of the foot, and for the sole I will just keep alternating 1 color A, 1 color B stitch and see how it works. I do hope I get it done. I hope it won't take too long to get this done, because if it takes too long, I'm not quite sure I will actually knit the second one. But I really would like to have 2 of those socks. We shall see. So that's that for socks at the moment. Then I'm going to show the next lace wrist warmer. So these are the ones that I knit before. And originally I only wanted to knit 2 pairs. But I had not planned on knitting such a small one. So now I need another pair that's a little bit bigger so it fits me. And to make it to make sure it doesn't get too boring, I decided to add something. And that something is a black glitter yarn. And this is what it looks like. I got that as a present. And it's the same kind of glitter yarn that I used for the Christmas socks that I still haven't finished, and the Christmas cowl that I did finish. And I remember somebody asking me what I was using, and it's called Metallic Madeira. It's made in Germany. It's available on Amazon if you can't find it in your local yarn shop or whatever shop. So I'm holding the lace yarn, which is still the leftover of 50 grams of lace alpaca yarn by Hansa Farm. And I'm holding those two double. And one thing that I was a bit worried about is about catching both yarns all the time, especially with the decreases. But so far, this hasn't really been too complicated. And this yarn is so fine. I think even if I missed it every now and then, it wouldn't be too bad. And the other concern that I had is, will it be visible if I have a black yarn and a black, like glitter something yarn? But I must say, it does get tangled up very easily. But I think it is visible. I hope you can see it on screen. But I think you can. You can see that there's a bit of a glitter, and you can, let's see, if I hold it like this, I think you can see the difference. This is a bit shiny because the yarn is a bit shiny, but this has those like little, where the light gets reflected. I like it. Even if it's not very obvious, it does still make a difference, and I like it, and I want my wrist warmers like that, and that's why I'm going to keep knitting them like this. And I hope that once I have knit up more, or once I finish it, the difference between the two will be more obvious. But then it's difficult to show black anyway. Yeah, but this is what I have so far, not too much. It's again another needle size. So I will then have one pair with 2.0 and one pair where one was knit on a 2.25 needle, and this is a 2.5 needle. So that's interesting as well. And I'm also excited to see how big they're going to be. I may even add one pattern repeat, but maybe I won't. I'll see how long they are once I've done the 5 repeats, and then I'll decide what to do. Yeah, that is that. Then I picked up an old project that I hadn't knit on for a while, and that's the cowl called Wolkig by Martina Behm. Wolkig means cloudy, and this cowl is a bit like a cloud around your neck, depending on what yarn you use, but also these ruffled sections, they can look a bit like clouds, if you want to see that. And I decided to knit this ball of yarn into a cowl because it's a sock yarn with silk content, and I felt I would rather like to wear it somewhere where it's not on my feet. And also the yarn will be more visible like this. And I started that when I went on my last holiday, and I knit on it quite a bit, but then I put it down for some reason. And now I've picked it up again. I haven't knit too much on it in the last week. I actually did put a progress keeper. It's just a simple safety pin. So I only knit a little bit on it, but just having pulled it out makes it so much easier to keep knitting. And I really want to not put it down again until I finish it, and then I'll finish it and not put it down. You know what I mean. So I'm glad I picked it up again, and I'm looking forward to having this, even though at the moment I wouldn't need to wear it. So then the clothes, and again I've only brought one skirt, but I brought the other one than last week. So last week I knit on the even star skirt and not on the short row skirt that I showed in the last special video with my sister. And this time I brought that skirt and not the other one. So I am using 3 different opal sock yarns with blue and grey and white. And I am knitting like 6 full rows and 2 short rows in each color, and then I change to the next one, and I'm going from light to dark, and I keep repeating 1 2 3 1 2 3. And again, I didn't really knit a lot. I think I just did 1 stripe in each of the colors. And because the middle yarn has some light and some dark, sometimes the light stripe will look wider because it's both the light yarn and the middle yarn, and sometimes it looks a lot smaller when the middle yarn has like blue colors. And the same goes for the dark yarn. Sometimes if the middle yarn is a bit darker, then that stripe will look wider. So it does change all the time, and I really like that. And hopefully I'm going to get some more work done on that skirt in the next 2 weeks. I'll have 2 weeks time until the next proper episode. So let's see how much I get done during that time. Then it's back to the blankets. The first one is the Starflower blanket by Tin Can Knits that I am knitting out of the Alpaka Alpaka yarn by Hansa Farm, and I am knitting these Starflower motifs and then sewing them together. And my plan is to use every color that they produce this yarn in, and then have an alpaca blanket that shows off all the colors and that I can wash in the washing machine. So that's why I'm using this yarn and not the normal alpaca yarn by Hansa Farm. And I think last week this one was, oh no, I think those 2 were already attached, but I hadn't knit the light green yet. So I knit that and attached that, but I didn't leave the end long enough to sew it in. So I only got to here and I can't find the leftover yarn, which is a bit embarrassing. I'm sure it is somewhere. I will find it at some point, and then I will finish sewing this on. And then I sewed the square, the motif in that I had already knit last week. And then I knit 1 more piece and sewed it in. So this is what I have so far. And I really, really like it a lot. I like the way the colors go together. I like the pattern a lot. And I like the fact, especially now with the warm weather, that I can knit just tiny little pieces, and then the sewing in only takes a few minutes, and I can leave the blanket on the table while I sew it. I don't have to have it on my lap. And I'm really looking forward to knitting more of those pieces and attaching them to the blanket. And I'm not quite sure whether I showed you the back of the blanket last week, but I think that's also very interesting, because with the blanket you always see the other side as well every now and then, either because someone doesn't pay attention and just puts the blanket over this way, or maybe because you fold it over or something. And I really like the way this pattern looks on that side as well. And you can also see quite nicely that this piece has been blocked and all the other pieces haven't been blocked yet. And yeah, I'm still planning to block the blanket as soon as I finish the second round of pieces around the white one. So the white will be in the middle, and then I will block it again. And yeah, looking forward to what this looks like. Now the other blanket, the Mandala Madness blanket, I actually finished another part of the pattern. So the pattern is broken down into 18 parts because it used to be a mystery crochet along, and sometimes with these mysteries the pattern will get put into one pattern, like with Professor Fungi. Now that it's not a mystery anymore, you just get one pattern with everything in it. But with the Mandala Madness, it's still divided into 18 parts, which makes it quite nice to work from one part to the other, and you sort of get a feeling for what it was like back then when people were working from one clue to the next. And I finished the complete next clue, and now I actually used all 14 colors that will be in the blanket when it's done. So from now on, colors will only repeat. They will not, there will be no more new colors added in, and I love it. And I think I have to get up to show it to you. So this is now 80 centimeters from one tip to the other tip on the other side. So it does have the size of a small baby blanket. You could use it as a baby blanket now, but I actually want this to be about 2 meters. So it's supposed to get more than double the size. I mean, double the, is that the diameter? I don't know. But yeah, I want this to get huge, and the pattern still has lots and lots of parts. So this is part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is part 6. There's 12 more parts to come. I'm so looking forward to working them. And yeah, just love this a lot. Anything else I need to say about that? Oh, by the way, so far there were 2 rounds where you use 2 colors at the same time. And this color that has those bubbles, they're different from the popcorns that we have here. Those were actually crocheted from the wrong side. So that was the first time I had to turn my work, crochet 1 round from the back, then turn again, and then crochet the next from the front again. So that was interesting too. And that's one of the things I love so much about this blanket, is that things keep changing all the time, and then some things repeat, and then you get something new again. I think it's amazing how someone is able to design something like that. It's amazing. Love it. So that's that. And I just realized that I forgot a project because I forgot to write it down. And it should have been before the blankets in the garment section, because I brought my friend's vest that is part of the pattern battle. And I probably forgot because I didn't actually knit on it last week, but I washed and blocked it. And I wanted to show you what it looks like now. So maybe if you remember, before I washed and blocked it, it was not quite as smooth, and also the edges were a bit too wide. So I think I picked up a few too many stitches on all the edges, but I wanted to see what it looks like after I washed and blocked it, and I think it looks really nice now, and it does fit quite nicely. It was a bit tight before I blocked it. It's a little less tight now, so I should be fine closing the uppermost button with the other buttons. I'm not too sure I will close them. I still haven't sewn that together, so I still have the yarn end hanging there. I might sew it together. I might leave it open. I'm still not sure what to do. And I still haven't embroidered anything on it, so that's one of the things I need to do before this is actually done. But there's something else I am thinking of doing. I'm pretty sure I will do, and that's undoing the cast off in the armholes. Because if you look at the vest like this, it looks quite nice. But if I wear it, if I put it on and it sits on my shoulder, then this is just too open. And you can see that it's too wide, and it will not sit nicely on me, but it will sort of go away from me. It sits a bit like this, and I don't like it. And I thought, even though I've woven in the end, it shouldn't be too complicated to find the end, undo the cast off, and then cast off again and just do it a bit more tightly. So that's what I'm planning to do. I won't do it on this edge because, I mean, the bottom is good anyway, and that's the number of stitches that I was knitting anyway. And for the front and for the neckline, I think it looks nice, and it looks nice on me as well. So I'm going to keep that, but I will, I think, undo the cast off and cast the stitches off again. No idea when I'm going to do that because I'm not really looking forward to it. Maybe I'll do the embroidery first, maybe not. We'll see. But I just wanted to show you the difference that it made just washing and blocking this, and stay tuned for what else happens with it. And that brings me to the last project. That's the knit along that I am hosting on this channel and in the Ravelry group, where we knit a different pair of socks every month. And the June pattern is a simple lace pattern. And I apologize, I think the English version of the tutorial is still not out, but it will get done at some point. And I chose this colorful Schafpate sock yarn by Opal. And last week I'd already said that the leg was almost finished, and I just wanted to knit a bit of stockinette before starting the heel. So on this side I continued the lace pattern. It's a very simple lace pattern based on a knit 2 purl 2 rib. And so after knitting this many stitches in stockinette, I knit the first half of a heel on this sock. So I'm doing a short row heel, and I did the first half of the heel on this sock, then just knit down one side. And now I'm going to, now I'm going to do the first half of the heel on this sock. Then I will do 2 complete rounds, and then I will do the second half on this heel, and then the second half on this heel, and then I can just knit the feet. And one of the reasons I like to have stockinette on the sole of the sock is I think it's more comfortable to walk on, but I also like the difference between what does the yarn look like in stockinette and with pattern. So with the heel, the stripes are now a lot wider than they are on the sock, because I'm only using half the number of stitches and I'm reducing the number of stitches. But once I finish the heel and I start knitting the foot, the difference will be very obvious between the stitches on the sole and the stitches in pattern. And I just like to see what that looks like. Yeah, that's everything I knit and crocheted last week. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!